kind of have both of you guys. Alright, so I'm trying to multi-stream to my Twitch as well as my YouTube. Now, yesterday I did, yesterday or the day before, I did the same thing, but I don't know if it actually transferred. So, and I haven't updated any of this yet. I need to right now, so I'm gonna do that. Content. It should say that I'm live right now. And it's not. So I'm wondering if it even shared properly. Because as of right now, I'm live on Twitch, but it's not saying that I'm live on my YouTube channel. So if y'all see me on my YouTube right now, please let me know because I don't see it. I don't see the live listed. Okay, here we go. Here's the lives. So it did. Okay, good. And then, alright, so now I see where the lives are at. It's in the channel content. I don't see it. My apologies. How did I get a copyright? Oh, the owner allows content. Anyway, I don't know how I got a copyright on that, but evidently I did. So. Alright. So it works. Okay, good. That's great. So now for the multi-streaming, I'll probably lean a little bit more towards StreamYard, but pricing wise, I don't know how it's gonna work out. Alright, so today is Sunday. Tuesday is July 1st. Just as a heads up, for those of you coming into the midweek of a new month. So for those of you who are end of monthing it, my first, but at least you got the rest of from now to Tuesday, right? Great way to start the week. So, but yes, I am kind of throwing something on y'all because I'm kind of throwing it on myself as well. But we are actually not waiting to the end of the year to go live with this. We're gonna go live July 1st. Haha, I gave you guys 48 hours. As of July 1st, it will be my conscious decision to be less talking and more doing, right? Like I said, the next 5 months are going to be really crucial for all of us to be able to take that next step in that ladder of our own personal success, whatever you may call that. And even if it's on a personal level, of just doing better, right? Just going in a positive direction. And it's really hard when you have to keep beating that into your head or have other people beat it into your head consistently of just think positive, right? So it's really hard to hold on to that, especially when your thoughts get really, really heavy. And they tend to be so heavy that they overtake your emotions and then it overtakes your actions. So to dig yourself out of that hellhole of your own doing in your own mind every single day, it is a process that you have to learn how to do for yourself, because each person's ability or, you know, way of doing things is going to be a little bit different. So, um, you know, just keep breathing, right? We just got to keep breathing and keep pushing through this. Um, so starting conscious decision starting July 1st, we are actually going to start enacting everything that I have been talking about for the past 6 months in real time. Okay, so you guys will be more behind the scenes than me talking to you directly, if that makes any sense. There will be still talking directly, but there'll be a lot more of me showing you what I'm talking about and walking you through each process. Because remember, I said you've got to get really specific. All of the things that you used to do, you've been doing them for 6 months. If you guys have been following me for the past 6 months, everything that I've been talking to you about and have been repeating for the past 6 months is what we're about to start actually implementing. Okay? Because starting in the new year, we are going to be making this a legitimate business. So we got to get these baby steps knocked out, the trial and error, the losses, find out where the problems are, get to the very bottom of it and to the source of it, whether that's in your business, if it's in your friendships, your family, your, you know, interpersonal relationship between you and the world or within yourself. So any aspect that you want to look at it, okay? Um, so yeah, we're gonna be taking those first steps July 1st and making them official. Because we want to make the rest of 2025 and all of 2026 the best time of our lives, right? Why wait till later? Y'all are into that instant gratification. Go ahead and fucking do it now. Why wait, right? YOLO. You only got one life. You only live once. Isn't that what YOLO means? You only live once? Well, how much more of your life do you have left to live? Who knows? Until then, till the world blows up, right? We just keep on keeping on. And today you will have a revelation of some sort. So enjoy that. Morning routine. Weather today. Actually, it got cool last night, which is amazing. But yeah, we're still in the midst of that heat wave weather weirdness. So make sure you're hydrating, whether you or your plants or animals. Everything hydrates. Accept your downloads from the universe as they may be, so to speak, and enjoy the sun a little bit. Don't go crazy with it. Cause yeah, I was out there the other day and felt like I was out there for like a lifetime. It was probably only 15 minutes. So, so for those of you who are working out in this heat, my kudos to you. Be smart. You know, take care of yourself and others while you're out there. So, 24-hour check-ins are still active, but not as prevalent. But yeah, keep in contact with those of you that you care about, or you know that you want to keep in contact with it. Don't forget to make sure that you're keeping in touch with your contacts as far as business wise. Make sure that you're following up with contracts that you may have lost or forgotten, or paperwork that's important, or appointments, or don't forget to change that load, or you know what I mean, like just today is a day of rest, right? But it's the day to do the rest of the things that you didn't do all freaking week. So so try to give yourself a chance to have, you know, 30 minutes of silence, 20 minutes of silence if you can, grab it. Lock yourself in your own closet if you have to. You know what I mean? But not really. Don't do that. But don't do that. uh, but so so this way you can kind of like center yourself in your own mind and in your own aura, so to speak. So this way you can take these decisions that you're going to be making moving forward, and you can actually access the best potential for it, because now you're taking that 3 seconds, you're taking that few minutes and that pause time to really think about the incoming information, because sometimes, and a lot of times, we jump on that first instinct, right? And sometimes that first instinct is, yes, it has always been there. It's genetically embedded in all of us. It's always been there, but sometimes you don't have to use it. Sometimes you don't have to make the first choice, or you don't have to choose the first one, right? And this is a saying that I've even talked about in the stream before, but this is actually a saying that my grandmother told me before she passed away. And I'd never really understood what she was talking about. Granted, yeah, that's something that could be covered across broad topics, naturally. Including like that of OCD, or something of like a personal preference by not picking the first one. You go past the first one, you go to the second one. First is the worst, second is the best theory. There's a lot of things that I could have utilized that for. I think for me personally, as well as something that could be good for y'all, is to not take that first action in that moment to jump on something right in that second. Although there are times, and most times, you do. Okay? But there are those one-off scenarios and situations that require you to take a few seconds, even if it's just 3 seconds, which for all of us, that's a scroll time, to think about it before you make an action. Okay? Because remember, we are the portals for everything that's created in this universe, whether it's positive or negative. It doesn't matter. It's just the fact that it's coming through us, and we are the ones that get to choose how we interact with the world around us at all times. And that's what I'm saying as far as us realizing our own power. We don't even realize it in the moment that we can pick and choose how we want certain things to be. And yeah, you're going to get kickback. You're going to get that, why are you doing this? You're going to get that shock moment, or the maybe even excitement and celebration. Who knows? Depending on where you lay your boundary at versus where this other people, places, and things react to us when we have that change. So, or have that boundary, or have that choice, which we were all blessed with. We are all blessed with the power of choice within ourselves every single day. And so, I constantly implore of you to continue to use your imagination, continue to use your power of choice, be able to utilize that in a way that has all of your traumas being something that like could either be a building block or like fuel for the fire to go forward into your next destination. So, and this is in, like I said, everything that I'm talking about is in all aspects. You don't have to take it directly. Apply it how it's needed in your specific situation, scenario, whatever your thought process is, okay? Whatever you're thinking about right now, somehow this applies to that, okay? So, because I wouldn't be on here talking every freaking day to myself for no reason at all if it wasn't for a reason behind what I'm doing, okay? Even if nobody's listening to me right now, at some point in time, someone's going to hear this. Even if it's just my frequency reverberating out into the universe, someone's going to feel me. You know what I'm saying? So, tune into my brainwaves and ride it for a while. You know what I mean? even if it crashes and burns, sometimes my ideas aren't so bad after all. And a lot of the reasons why I say and do what I do, most of y'all. So, continue to look forward to your goals, get them written down, get them on a calendar, write that shit on a piece of scrap paper. I don't care, get it out of your head, put it on paper. Put it in that digital notebook that you have somewhere sticky noted invisibly in the background that nobody knows about. You know what I mean? Even if it's just your own, like, way of wording it or creating it, even if it's your creation and your expression is through art or like clothing or computers or dirt. You know what I mean? Like anything. Could be anything. Doesn't matter. It's up to you to do it. So, like I said, we're going to be taking this next step. I know y'all are tired of hearing me talk about it. Y'all want to see some action, right? I feel that call from the universe to call to action. It is needed. It's required. But I am taking my time. I am taking that pause and driving with an e-brake on. You know what I mean? Like burn them fucking brakes up before, I can't stop anymore, because I want to take the baby steps and look at every single aspect before I actually implement something. So this way, when it does come time for the crash and burn, it's something that I didn't see coming. And it's something that I can learn from. And I know I can learn from it. No matter what I go through in this lifetime, I have already been through the shit. It's just in a different way. I've already felt pain. I've already been through the heartbreak. I've already known loss. I've known what it's like to be at the very bottom of the fucking barrel and nobody give a shit. Okay? To have a title over you where it makes other people look at you in some type of way and not really give a shit about what you're saying, because all they know is what they know. They don't see you for who you are. And they won't until they experience it too. And sometimes even when they experience it, they won't see it the same way as you do. So stay on your path, stay authentic as much as possible. Heal and grow along in your path of success as well as all of your losses. And learn, and on the way, learn how to integrate the new with the old. Yeah, the old ways of working, yeah, they may have worked great, and they may have been a really great timeline, so to speak, of a baseline to work from. But times change, and yes, that tradition needs to bend a little bit. No, it doesn't have to bend completely. It doesn't have to break. In some aspects, yes, maybe it does. But for the most part, that baseline's still there, okay? And that baseline needs to be from love. From the love of yourself, the love of the world around you, and for the love of the future. Whatever that may be. For some of you, there may not be much time left and you don't even know it. I'm not trying to say that in a fear-mongering way. I'm saying that in a way of, what do you want to do while you're still here? While there's still time. While those people are still around. While that opportunity's still there. While you still have a little bit left of those strings of every little bit that you're holding on to. What are you going to do? When the weight of the world is so fucking heavy, you can't breathe anymore. When you have no corner to turn to because your back's up against the wall. What are you going to do when the devil comes knocking at your door? When that final time comes, when the universe strips away your skin suit and all that's left is your soul. And it's reading your life. And everything you've ever done, even if it was just in your mind, every single thing that you ever did, you will be stripped clean and naked from. You will be read like a book at your end days. And when that time comes, what is your book going to say? Yeah, first part of it is a bunch of bullshit, right? Chaos, drama, oh my God. What happens to the next chapter? What happens in the next page? I want to know. I want to know where my hero lays and where my villains lie. And I want to see the deception behind their eyes when there's nowhere else to turn. When no one comes to save you at the end of the day, what's left but yourself? When that final decision comes for you without your choice or by your choice, either way, what will it say? And I promise you, all people, all things, even in their end times at that final moment, wishes to have just a little bit longer of some aspect. So if you were given just a little bit longer, what would you want? What would you want your day to be like? Even if you could just plan out one perfect day for yourself, one perfect moment. I want you to visualize that, okay? It may be positive or negative, I don't know. That's all y'all's doing, and whatever you conjure up is your own karma. So, but I want you to think about those things. I want you to make them into a reality in your mind, and then I want you to write it down. I want you to start creating, open up that part of you that you pushed so far away because the rest of the world told you that you had to be some kind of way. I want you to create. I want you to be whatever it was that you wanted to be when you were a kid. When I was a kid, I always thought I would go around writing my name on everything. Like everything. It didn't even matter if it was a freaking soda can. I was just practicing writing my name. So this way one day when I would rule the world, everyone would know my name. And then my name changed. So, like I said, I want you to keep focusing on your goals. I want you to find out those stupid little baby steps that you got to take to get to that next step. I know it's mundane. I know it's slow living. It's redundant. It's soul sucking. It's like dial up, right? Because your brain's already 15 pages past this point. Now your body's got to take time to get caught up. You know what I mean? So your 5D and your ethers are way faster than your physical body and the world around you. And sometimes you got to slow that shit down, pinpoint specifics so you can get to your next steps. So you can get to what's already up here, down here. You know what I mean? So, I know I'm preaching today. Mama made some coffee. Oh, I gotta show y'all too. I keep forgetting that y'all are both in different directions. It's weird. Oh. why I went off on a tangent there. I always do. I usually, if I repeat things in the stream, like I said, go back, count how many times I repeated them. What was it that I said that I repeated? Why was it important? Was it relevant to something that I was saying, or was it one off? Did it come out of nowhere? Was it attached to another aspect that maybe I was talking about earlier that now I'm talking about again? Because this is how my mind works. It just kind of bounces all over the place. It doesn't have one specific line. I mean, it has a baseline to just keep going, but my brain's all over the place, and I hope you guys can keep up. Where was I at? So, for those of you who do the weather and OOTD for the wardrobe first thing in the morning, you guys can start your OOTD as ads. You can link that into your ads. I actually added that as a section as advertising. Add personal OOTD to seller sites and switch out seasons. Any kind of challenges, stuff like that. I did look up something called Google Designs. I don't know why I looked that up. Let's find out. Oh, I also just activated my Hey Google on there, so y'all. Google was my best friend, but now I got his number. A direct link. Hey Google. I wonder if it'll pull it. No, it won't, because I'm live probably. I'm way behind the times. Y'all are already on like Siri and Alexa and shit, and like Google's my best friend, so I would rather just talk to Google. I wanted to change the Google name, to like, I don't know, like some librarian name or something. That'd be cool. Some famous librarian or something. Some cool librarian. What was I doing? Google Designs. Again, I don't know why I was looking this up. I write shit down and I don't even remember why the fuck I wrote it down. This is how my brain works also. It's like I have different parts of my brain that just doesn't want to work with each other, but sometimes they leave notes for each other. Like it's a bunch of people in an apartment complex, or like in an apartment, and they're all roommates, but they don't really, like, they talk to each other and they like converse, but like at the same time they don't. They just leave notes for each other. And then like drunk me and sober me kind of vibe. You know what I mean? Like I was in a deep thought process and I have to now dig down through this. I had to slide through the rabbit hole again just to get back to that thought. Like, and I bypass like all these little side tunnels. I just get straight to the point of like, okay, here's the note, and I'm at a crossroad now. Like, now I have to like walk back through the little rabbit tunnel to figure out all these little pieces to get back to the point where I was just at. And I'm just like, oh yeah, now I get it. So I feel so stupid, but by then I'm just like, I'm 5 years ahead of you and I already aged to get to this point. So, can we, me talking to my brain, just how it is. So, okay. For making content, like today, I was actually needing to go back through the calendar and I entered in all of this wonderful information and forgot specific pieces. And this is what makes this so wonderful, is you can keep yourself accountable and keep yourself on track. So the pieces that I miss, I can catch them quicker. And then I can just add them in right then. And I don't even have to worry about it. You okay? Yeah. Sorry. Okay. So, content creation, adding a section to the top part of the pre-posting. For each one of the socials, we all know the algorithms changed. So, having to push that, making that decision from this point forward, today will be your deciding point. Do I continue to take it day by day, specific socials, Or do I have the ability or capability to multi-post all socials every hour, every day? Your choice. I know what my choice is. I'm going to try to push forward as much as possible. But I also know my limitations, and financially, right now, my limitations are crazy. So, um, so yeah. I think that for those of you who do have multi-posting tools, or have the ability to do this, remember to scrub your content before posting, please, for the love of God. Take all of those little watermarks off. If you can, crop the picture. I know it seems like a lot of editing up front, but for the most part, a lot of you already are editing or have some kind of social media editor program or whatever it is that y'all do. So, um, I think that like once I finally am able to get like to the point where I can pick and choose which ones that I want to go with, naturally you're going to want to try to go with the one that has the most access. But you're going to have to remember that even though you have that multi-posting tool, okay, um, even though you have that tool, you're still going to have to go in and individually post to separate sections of each one of those. So another part of me doing an altercation to the said calendar is when I said make content, the reason why I said that is a separate section is because you're going to have to take the time to do that, right? And I wasn't adding that in. I was just adding, oh, well, just post it. Post it, post it, post it. That's all fine and good, but you got to get it first. And for like I was saying, for the most part, you guys already have a shit ton of content. And if you don't think you do, you probably do and don't realize it. Also, how long does it take to take a picture of anything or a clip? I mean, we're literally talking about seconds here. So I know y'all are all in the instant gratification, but I also know y'all, most of y'all, unless you're underage, have been in some kind of non-social media life prior to this big boom of technology in the past 10 years, 10, 15 years or so. So, well, actually 20 now. Gosh, it's been that long. I've been graduated for 25 years and it feels like I'm ancient. I don't know. It feels weird. So, and the messed up part is no matter how old you get, there's a specific age that your mind stays at. Like an internal feeling that you have that doesn't really change as you get older. There's a certain part of you that never changes, I noticed. So, however you feel in the background of pretty much every event that's going on in your lifetime or has gone on in your memories of your lifetime, that very baseline observer is who you will always be. You will always be the observer to this world, as well as the creator. So keep that in mind. That no matter how much your external or maybe even internal body changes, maybe your emotions, your thoughts, the way that you would go about things, your behaviors, mannerisms, all of it kind of plays back to thoughts and stuff. But all of that stuff, it has some similar baseline even through all the years, through all the times that you have gone through a phase, right? Well, that phase always had a baseline. That trend always had a baseline. Your emotions, your belief systems, your actions, it always comes from you, ultimately. So that's why I say about being quote unquote self centered, because when you're aware of yourself and you start to recognize that you are a separate your soul, your energy, your light, your being is separate from the world around you. It's part of it, yes, but you are the observer, you are the creator, and you are the one that was given the power of choice. So right there is your trinity. You're shielded with the armor of the universe right there. And anything that comes in your path has to pass those three tests, so to speak, right? Does it feel good to be in your energy within your little force field of shielding that you have? Are you allowing it within that space? What are you allowing within that space? Imagine yourself surrounded by a bubble at all times, right? We've all kind of gotten used to that with the whole COVID thing, right? 6 foot, 6 foot, 6 foot, 6 foot, right? So imagine you have a 6 foot bubble around you. Who are you going to let in that bubble? Right? Who are you going to allow close enough to you to infect you in some way, right?
Yeah, the crop duster.
The crop duster. I said carpet duster yesterday. I messed it up. And he's been talking about it ever since then. But yeah, it's, who are you going to allow within your space? Do you know if they are good for you? Are they healthy for you? Are you going to get sick by being around them? Or are you going to feel, this inpouring of like just beautiful health and healing? Do you feel good when you're around somebody? If you feel bad when you're around someone and you leave their presence and you feel better, that's somebody you need to take off your list right away. Okay? And I'm guilty of it too. I am guilty of being that person. I'm guilty, even in the stream, y'all know this already. I am guilty of being like that nonstop talkative person that doesn't ever shut up and usually repeats myself consistently. So I know what it's like to be on the other side of that. People can't wait to get away, right? But at the very understanding of all of this is that yes, people can change if they want to. If they truly, honestly want to, they have to start changing within themselves. And you will be able to see and feel that change. A lot of times, people, yes, can mask that healing, but ultimately, in the long run, anything that is built on a lie or built on a falsity will always crumble. It will never have enough solid foundation to build off of. Yes, it may build at first, and it may take years or decades to even come to the light, but eventually, that little crack in the foundation is going to ultimately be what crashes an entire kingdom, so to speak, of life and everything around you. When you start to realize yourself and start to recognize that there's certain behavior patterns or thought processes or things that you're what you thought was the way it was supposed to be are wrong, then you recognize yourself and you break down that perspective. So when that perspective change happens, one or the other one's got to die. It's just a part of molecules. Like, it's just a part of life. No two things cannot exist at the same time, right? So, and if they can, hear me out. If they can, please let me know. The only way that I would see it is in the yin and the yang, because it would have to have an equal and opposite to balance it out, right? But when you finally make that decision, that is your pivot point to be able to move forward into your next steps. no matter what it is, whether it's the next steps of your healing, the next steps of your awareness, which will most likely be the first of it. You won't become aware until you're in the shit, okay? Till it starts to be like, oh, okay, shots fired. Oh no, I'm in the middle of a war zone. What do I do? Right? Like that fast. All of a sudden, it will just be an inpouring of information to your brain because the awareness was made. So a new path was created in the brain and new firings happen because now they're creating a new branch. And all those overthinking thoughts start to play into effect, the positive and the negative thoughts that end up connecting to anything that is a concept, right? Which then creates more firings in the brain. So what I'm saying is to continue to do that. Continue to expand your brain as much as possible in every aspect, in every avenue of your life, or anything that you could possibly think of. Any ideas that you have, talk about them. There's no way that you could possibly patent every single idea that you have in your head. And if you want it to be created, you have to speak it into existence. Okay? Whether it's you that does it or someone else, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's just the fact of being brought, right? So we're taking this portal time, right? So use your brain while you still can, please, as much as possible every single day, and continue to express what you're learning to others. Try to find ways to express yourself. Even if it's not a normal way of expressing, which may be against what your personal belief is, okay? It maybe it was something that you thought that maybe, oh, I'm not good at that. This is stupid. Why am I even trying this? Like, oh my god. Ugh, cringe. I'm horrible. Don't look at me. You know? Do it. Show me. Send me your artwork. I have a P.O. box. I haven't checked it in a while. You know? Create something. Wonderful. From the bullshit. Please. Anybody. I'm begging you. Please. That's why I tell you guys about my ideas and like things that I could have patented and made a lot of money from. I don't even know how to patent. So how would I even get that far to even do it? Right? Until I'm at that step, I'm still going to continue to give ideas. I'm still going to throw my pearls to the swine, so to speak, because I'm just not going to meet it. Right? There are certain scenarios where I did request specific sponsorships as well as future movement in certain industries. I don't know if anybody heard me or not. I kind of spoke really loud to the back and tagged every freaking body that I can think of. So go back and check that out. But it would be industry changing. Not just for one industry, it would be for a lot of industries. But anyways, so have fun figuring what I'm talking about out. The continuation of going forward with plans, you have to find out the little bits of information along the way. Like I said in pretty much every stream, you're going to have missing bits to your little path. Whatever bits you can collect on the way is going to give you a solid road to work with, right? Even if you have to backtrack, you know, when that road comes to an end and you're like, oh shit, this didn't work. Everything failed. The castle fell. Now what do we do with the pieces, right? So you have to backtrack down that road again and figure out where those pieces failed, okay? And I'm showing my wrist because I have a tattoo that is literally, I don't know if you guys can see it, is literally an X marks the spot with missing pieces going down through the little steps, okay? That's what I'm referencing when I look at my wrist. For those of you on Twitch, you already know. So finding those invisible steps, as many as you possibly can before everything fails, right? Even if everything fails, let's get past that part. Like, oh, I'm so afraid of failure. Fuck it. Let it fail. Let it fail. Enjoy that failure. Add it as a page to your freaking book. And that way you can go back through that path and see where did it fail. Where can I start over from this? Can I start over from this failure point? Or is this something that I have to completely just put it to the side and think about it later? and come back to it later because maybe it might be important later. Don't completely trash it. Don't completely give up, please. Okay? Yes, it's okay to set it aside for a while, especially when it's heavy. Okay? But don't give up completely. Even if you got to rot in your bed for a little while, okay? And think on it and have an emotional overload and eat entirely too much stuff that you're not supposed to be eating, or the opposite, where you should be eating. Make sure you're hydrating, please. Okay? I understand that that moment of peace needs to come sometimes. Let it go forward. So, give you the bricks or the ropes that you can take to get you out of that hellhole. Whatever you can grab onto. And I promise you, this was the first thing that me personally, and it may not work for you, this is the only way that I was able to dig myself out of that darkness. Okay? It may work great for you. You may look at me and be like, what the hell is this lady talking about? But I'm trying to figure out if I can help anybody else on this path. And like I said, starting in June, I'm going to be a lot more doing and less talking. So y'all will be happy with that. So remember that you have a lot more power than you realize. Okay. And that these steps that you're taking right now, even though they seem small, they seem mundane, they seem stupid, or why is she having us do this? It's for a reason in the long run. And I promise you that once you get to that point where you're like, okay, something is not right, and you have that small little gap to look back at and say, okay, Eve made me take all these steps, and I took a couple of them, and I failed. Okay? Why did I fail? Let's go back and look at it again. What were the steps that were missing? Are they really, really important to the end? Is taking the time and taking those steps super important for the end, or is that something that I can bypass? Because there are certain times when you can take a shortcut and it works. Okay? Perfect example. I think it was in the movie Day After Tomorrow or something, where the son, Sam, takes a test and the teacher says, well, if I can't do it in my head, then that means that you're lying or you're missing out on the information. And he ended up failing the student because the student was smarter than him, supposedly, right? Every single person has their own way of learning. Every single person has their own way of expressing themselves and their thought processes, their ways of doing things, okay? And that is what makes this world worth living in, is having those little bits of differences, okay? That helps us to continue to keep learning and gives us chances to continue to express and change our DNA. It is required for our DNA to have altercations to continue on in the survival of its own existence, okay? So when you're going through life, this is just basically a DNA train, and you're trying to pick and pull all these information bits and pieces. It's part of your DNA process. Now, granted, if you have children, at whatever point that you had children at is the point that they're going to collect your DNA. This is why a lot of times people will say wait till you're a little bit older to have kids, not only because of the fact that it takes a lot of personal perseverance when you're younger to have kids, but it's also for genetics. It's for our genetics to be stronger because of our knowledge base. Usually around about the time of people having children is about the time when the brain is starting to fully, completely develop. Okay? And not entirely, but getting there, right? So that's why they say, like, okay, well, wait a little bit, into your 20s to have kids or something like that. Wait till you're older, or, you have your parents or grandparents, like, constantly bugging you for your kids. But it's for genetics. So anything that you learn after you have children is absorbed through you okay, let me backtrack. Anything that is given to your children is the information that is absorbed to us from our ancestors, okay? Think of it that way. When we have DNA activation, or we have intuition or a survival skill starts to trigger or an emotional trigger ends up happening, not due to a previous trauma, something that triggers you, you have no idea why, has nothing to do with anything that happened in your life. It's just something that activates from your DNA. Okay, it is something beyond your control. It is part of your evolution genetically as well as personally. Okay. um I know I said okay, like I don't even know how many times in the past 5 minutes. Um, it's one of those like space fillers for conversations, like uh, and sound space fillers. It's a conversational piece that y'all can look that up. It's a nervous thing also. Um, so same thing as gathering as much information before you move to your next step, as far as even in business. If it's in, even in business, there's the only thing that's constant is change, right? In life, everything that's constant is change. In DNA, same thing. Knowledge is power, and the more power that you have to be able to see the bigger picture is how you're going to be able to pivot and move through this life, through these business aspects, through these interpersonal aspects, through your own personal emotions, through your own thoughts. Okay? All at the same time. Everything all at the same time. And all at once. That movie, whatever it's called. I can't remember what it's called. Same concept. So, make sure that your linkages when you're doing your ads or your websites or your uh, games or your communication between people, or the communication that you have with yourself. Some people can and some people can't. Okay, not everybody has that voice in their head. I totally get it. That's fine. You just, I don't even know, do you hear anything? um is it just echoes, or is it like just complete silence? You know I've always wondered that about other people. I've actually bird dogged people ever since I was a very young kid. I've always watched other people's behaviors with each other. I never really understood people. I didn't understand why they chose the behaviors or to talk the way they did or act the way they did. I started, copying people's behaviors or clothing or styles and stuff like that when I was very young. But I felt very awkward and uncomfortable when I was around people other than to ask questions. And so when the other person was talking, everything was fine. It was just when they started asking me questions, it started making me feel weird, right? And even to this day, my fiance will ask me questions from like something from like a long time ago, and I start to feel kind of weird, and I'm like, why do you feel weird? There's no reason to feel weird about that. You're just talking, and it's such a awkward sensation. And I don't. The only way that I was able to get past a good portion of that, like I said, is to ask questions, and that's I say this to you so this way you can um, get outside of that uncomfortable comfort zone, right? Um, and be able to expand your world a little bit more. Um, when my kids were younger, I would make them order their food at the kiosk or at the register. I mean, not the kiosk because kiosk quit mom now, yeah. But I would have my kids order their own food so that way they had to have that interaction. Now, mind you, some of my kids didn't really talk until they were older. So, trying to break that social nervousness, even with speech issues, even with learning disabilities or abilities, even with, maybe even some physical things that were getting in the way of, some kind of communication, it's always good to try to think outside of what you would normally do and push those boundaries a little bit. If they didn't want to order and they felt super uncomfortable, don't make them. you know? Like just offer them that opportunity to let them come outside of their comfort zone. Same thing with anybody. When you're an adult and you haven't had that support, especially for my era and older, we were told to shut up. We were told that if we had any kind of thing wrong with us, to not talk about it. Okay? We were all told that. And for those of you who are against the boomers or whatever you want to call it, you have to understand where we are coming from, what we experienced, and the traumas that we went through to get you to the point where you're at. So you can understand where we're coming from. Okay? The new generation, don't think you're the only ones that are traumatized, man. We've got that shit down to a fucking science. You know what I mean? So we just didn't talk about it. Y'all do. If it wasn't for us, y'all wouldn't be able to talk about it. No, I'm just kidding. But boomer mentality. Anyway, so continue to speak your truth. Okay? Continue to go on the path that you feel is best for you. Yes, keep in mind that there are other people around you. Keep in mind that there are other people that were raised differently than you. Their languages may be different, their belief systems may be different, the way they dress, the way that they smell, the way that they talk, the way that they look, the way every single aspect about another person other than you is okay to be different. So keep that in your head. I don't care what year you're from. I don't care what country you're from. I don't care any of that. Okay? I don't even care if you came from another fucking planet. Alright? Even if all human beings are not the same species. At a very baseline, remember, we're all on the same fucking plane here. We're all in existence right now. So let's try to make this existence as, peaceful as possible. Because what the fuck? So, on to the next. My own personal bullshit coming out in that one. So yeah, make sure that you're staying on track as far as what it is that you're wanting to see in the future, no matter what aspect it's coming from. Okay? Even if it's so personal. If you have certain things that you wish for, write it down. If you have an idea in your head of what you want your future to look like, draw it. Start making a little. When I was a kid, I used to cut out pictures of magazines and post them all over my wall. That was before Facebook. Okay? I had my own Facebook wall. Or actually my entire room. My mom was so mad at me all the time because I'd use push pins. At half the time I'd have to plaster the walls because the walls were falling apart after a while from all the holes I put in the wall. I tried tape. I tried that blue sticky gum crap before On Command came along. And I mean, I would collect things from places that I went to and like things that I liked and just different color swatches and all this stuff, right? And I would just put it all over my walls. Didn't matter where it came from, what it was. It was just taped to my walls. Everything that I liked, I was completely surrounded by at all times. And that was my little safe zone. That was my imagination station, so to speak, right? That was my outpouring of my own creation that I could have in my own personal space. Even if it was something that I was just pulling little bits of something and throwing it to a wall, right? See if it sticks. Same concept. I want you guys to get your ideas out there. I want you to start creating. I want you to start being more authentic in yourself and outwardly to the world. So share your wish lists. Make sure that you're going live if that's something that you're wanting to do. Stop being the viewer and start being the creator, right? I mean, the same concept. You are the creator. You are also the observer. So if you just want to stay in observer mode, totally fine. The world needs observers. How else are we going to get information passed along, right? By the observers. But if you're wanting to step into that area, whatever it may be, then find out the information. the whole reason for directions in the first place from the very beginning of time is so this way we can tell the next generation what we did to help them on their path, right? Or whoever created it. So this way how to use it. When you're creating your own path, don't forget to write the shit down. This is what I'm doing. Excuse me. I'm keeping up with every single aspect of my thought processes at all times, as much as possible. And when I can come back to it. I originally kept a 5-star book, and just started writing in it. When I was rotting away in misery and hellhole, alone in a corner somewhere in deep dark depths of the earth of my own mind, I finally decided one day, let's write it all down. Every single thing that comes through my mind, I'm going to start writing it all down. I'm going to start talking about everything that processes through my mind in that moment every single day. And I'm going to start putting all of this shit together. And it became, imagine for a second if you could take an electrical ride through the internet, okay? Or through your molecules, your own DNA, and connect different pieces to different other pieces within your own mind and have it right in front of you. So this way you can navigate through your own mind enough to be able to start having a little bit more understanding of yourself as well as the world around you, but to be able to maneuver through all of that. And I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. I think Men in Black kind of described it as like a little guy in your head that helps control your skin suit so this way you can maneuver through life, kind of thing. But it's not a person, it's an energy. It's your light, it's what created you, it's your soul. And that is the observer, that is the zero. Your halo is your physical body to be able to be the creator, right? You needed some form of a transitional in between to be able to communicate into this 3D world, right? So, like in Constantine, where they talk about the cats are a good medium between, the afterlife and life. Same concept. Your skin suit, so to speak, your body, is your medium between your ethereal world and your reality. And this is only momentary. This is only, maybe you get 100 years if you're lucky. If you're lucky. If the world doesn't, get a hold of you first. So that light, that spark that you have within you, is the most powerful energy in the universe because it is the creation point as well as the end point all in one. That's why I say that I believe that we all have this God particle within our own mind and our own being that is creation, that is us, that's us. We are light, beings of light. And that little bit of light is enough power, is a power source that's stronger than anything on earth. It's stronger than anything in the universe. And we possess it at all times. It's like we have our own little nuclear power plant in our core. right? We've got our own little CERN inside of all of us. And, you know, once you become aware of that and you start to see, oh, okay, I have this within me. So the only thing that could be against me would be the physical, right? Because you are a creation beyond our own understanding. Each one of us is. So um because of that, we lack so much, and we know this. We know that there's a large part of ourselves that is unknown, and we fear it. We fear the larger part of ourselves because of what we are capable of. We already know we possess darkness and light within us. We already know that there is so much about us that's unknown and uncharted. We know we have an awareness to this. Okay, we already have that boundary built in our own mind. But the thing is, though, is that just because it's in the darkness doesn't mean that it's against you. It doesn't mean that it's bad inherently, right? Because there's a lot of things that we could perceive as to being bad, but could actually be for our betterment, right? Out of destruction causes creation in all things, and vice versa. So, um, sorry, y'all. I started a new face routine. My eyes are super itchy right now. I really need to lay off the retinol around my eyes. I think I'm getting an issue or allergy or something. My ears. My ears can hear what my eyes can't see. Um, so yeah, take all that into account, however you may, and kind of go with it from there. Sorry, y'all. If y'all been chatting, I don't even know. I haven't been looking at the thing. Nope. Okay. So, and Google Designs is a digital resource and inspiration for material design system. Google fonts and people and processes behind products. What was so important about Google Design that I had to write it down and put a question mark next to it? Editorial platform that highlights the breadth and craft of design at Google. Speculation to work in progress to finished product. By showcasing the imaginative people behind our design, we hope to shed light on how products are made and deepen your connection with our products. What does that have anything to do with what I'm looking at? Maybe it's a web designer that's free? Design your Google sites for free. Google web designer for your business. Okay, so that makes more sense. Site and Google sites. Cookies. I don't think I've ever been to Google sites. Welcome to the new Google Sites. Effortlessly create beautiful sites for your team, project, or event. Okay. This is new. Start your first site. Select the blank site or choose other template above. There's templates? Oh shit. Okay. So it's like Google Documents. But you can make your own website. Portfolio. Event. Website. Blank site. Okay, let's go with something that's already kind of pre-made because I'm super nervous. I've never done this before. Okay, template gallery. So we got personal portfolio, work event, help center, project team, small business, dog walker, holiday party, photo portfolio, restaurant, salon, and wedding. Oh, this is freaking cool. Education, graduates, professors, class, clubs, student portfolio. For those of you who are homeschooling or have a business of your own, this is awesome. I'm actually going to go into small business and where are we going with this? Okay, so, ooh, I could utilize the student portfolio thing too. That's cool. All right, so to start off with, all right, so small business. I'm going directly into the small business portion of this because that's all that they have. So that I already just said. So the small business portion of it, between restaurant and salon, I want to see which one of those would probably work better for me. Because if I can make a freaking website and post all of my sale site items and just use linkage to that, I will be so freaking happy. I'm clicking on salon because I feel like that would have more. Add content, insert menu, add content to your site. You can move content, change size, and crop images. Okay, so it's a move things around, organize, drag content where you want it, work with others. Okay, it's the same concept as Google, pretty much everything else. And then as soon as you're done making the site, you can just go ahead and publish it. I wonder if you can change the actual site name once you publish it. Or do you have to pay for a service for that? Because if this is free, I will be so freaking happy. Because I could actually integrate every single aspect of what I'm doing into this. And that will be really, really cool. So y'all go check out, what is it, Google Sites? Make your own website. If you're a small business, this is awesome. Or if you're first up and coming social media, this is awesome. If you're a homeschooler and want to keep up with stuff and have a website so this way you can keep up with your like requirements and stuff, this is really cool. I just want to know if there's a cost to publish. All right. Let's see. We'll backtrack here. Is there a cost to publish Google site? No, there's no cost to publish a website on Google Sites. Free platform provided by Google for building and hosting websites. You can build and publish your site using the Google account without incurring any hosting fees. However, there are some costs associated with a Google site that you should be aware of. If you want a custom domain instead of a Google site domain, which I figured that was already going to happen, premium features and templates. The core site is free. Like I said, there's the money in the sale is never the sale. It's always the accessory. Some premium templates or third-party integrations might come at a cost. Storage, okay. Storage space for your site tied to your Google account storage, 15 gigabytes for free accounts, according to some sources. If you need more storage, you'll need to purchase a Google Workspace plan, says some guides. Okay. I don't know what a Google Workspace plan is, but I guess that's for when you actually get serious. But we're just in the first baby steps. We just found out about this. So if y'all have any comments or concerns or anything to having to do with this site, please tell me now before we get married into this thing, because we about to. If you need more storage, which I actually have more storage on mine, and believe it or not, I'm actually using all of it up. I really need to go through those memes. Professional design and development. If you need help with design or development beyond the basic Google site features, you might need to hire a designer and developer, which of course is going to add additional cost. Duh. Also, if you need like a social media manager, I just said that. If you need a social media manager, then of course you're going to have money. I wonder how much social media managers get paid. Because I'm pretty in depth with this shit. I feel like I'm pretty stout as far as the background goes. Could be wrong though. Oh. Pricing and plans. For business starter, it's $7 a month, or $7.20 per user per month, sorry. $14.40 per user per month for business standard, and business plus is $21.60 per user per month. It's just me. So okay, at the max, business plus is $21 a month. So there you go. You already know at the max it's $21 a month. So you would have to break that down in your if this is something that you want to work towards, having something a little bit more than what the baseline is, you already know that the max for the pricing is whatever set amount, right? So go ahead and plan that in your sinking funds, in your savings envelopes. If that's something that's going to be part of your individual planning for your sinking funds, you can add an envelope for website, right? So you already know that it's going to be at the max $22 a month, right? Let's round up. So you would then break it down from now to the end of the year, how much it would be for a year, right? We're going to look at the total cost of it, then have it broken down by month into weeks from your sinking fund, okay? So for those of you who follow sinking funds, you're actually breaking down a total cost of something into whenever, like a smaller amount, so this way it's a little bit easier to get to the next step, right? Especially when you're looking at multiple sources of income, you can break that 2160 down across different forms of income, okay? And it all kind of pulls in together anyways, but I'm just showing you so you can kind of get an idea. So part of the sinking fund for business plus for a website, if you're wanting to have continued usage of it at that level, at that rate, right, that would then be a subscription. So you could either add that to your sinking funds to where you're putting a small amount per week away towards that, towards the end of the year, or you can go ahead and add that into your subscription fees for future charges, right? Because it's going to be a subscription. You're going to have to pay that every month. It's going to be the same amount every month unless they change it. So you can actually put that into bills if you wanted to. Like you want to do your fixed bills. You can put that into your fixed bills also. Either way, it's going to work. The background ASMR waterfall is thanks to Jeff. So you want to make sure that you're trying to keep your costs down as much as possible. So we are going to start the Google site at 0, right? And we're going to work our way up. But we already know an endpoint, okay? And by having that knowledge, you push away any fear that you would have had because you already have that knowledge. Remember what I said about the zeros and ones. When you don't have any knowledge, your fear sets in a cycle inside that 0, okay? When you have the knowledge, you have that continuational link for the information to move forward, okay? It's like a link in a track. It's a brick in a road. It's a whatever the next step is, right? Like an upward or onward. I can't remember if it was upward or onward. Anyway, It was a TV show, movie. It was a kid movie. The kid ended up taking these invisible steps to get across this gullyway, right? But he had to believe in himself enough to be able to take those steps. Okay? He had to. And even without the rope there, he still took those steps until he became aware of his fears. Okay? So that cycle of staying in that circle of zero where there's nothing, the ether is nothing's going to happen, right? You're going to stay stuck in fear. You're going to stay stuck in this ether of nothingness without any knowledge of anything, and you're just going to be, Whereas once you do find that information, so to speak, as far as like, the pen is mightier than the sword sort of concept, having that knowledge to be able to fight those next battles, to get to the next step, to get to the next portion of whatever it is that you're doing, right? To get to your next breath if you have to, right? So I forget where I was going with this. Keep an open mind. Give yourself more variety to be able to expand. Gather old items and ideas, concepts that you had before. Save whatever that you want to from it and get rid of the rest. Because these next steps are going to be, this period of resting, this period of gathering information and getting through this darkness is only the first part of this war that you're going to have with yourself for the rest of your life. These little battles, you're going to face them every day. But having the knowledge behind how to get through them or how to cope with them when they do come back around again, or how to deal with things when shit hits the fan and you don't know what to do next. Being able to reach out and ask for help when you need to. And, just keep on keeping on, so to speak. So, I'm talking myself out of ideas here. So yeah, if we can start from zero and utilize this new site that we've just found, and I can add that in here as far as taking all this information and putting it into this new Google site, right? Because we have to keep up with the changes. There's going to be new everything coming along at all times. And you have to pick and choose what you're going to try to run with and what you're going to let go of, what you're going to bypass. And then sometimes, yeah, you end up missing out on opportunities because you bypassed a certain step or something. But you can always, whatever's meant for you is going to come for you. And you're going to experience it. It might be a little late, but it's only because it takes time to heal from things, to be able to accept, your supposed fates. So, try to keep on going with whatever it is that you're going with. And whatever way that you can find that works best for you legally, run with it. Find as much information about it as you can before you do it, before you dive head first into it like I do. I'm the one that goes through all the bullshit for y'all in the background. So, so y'all can, at the very least, you can learn from me of what not to do, right? The only time I ever brought anybody together was to hate me. So if you're gonna hate me, I'm gonna give you a fucking reason. So, so yeah, use that dark side to benefit your life. Give yourself the door of opportunity to be able to create, to move forward. So utilizing new information gives you a chance to open up a new pathway, right? So now that we've learned about a new website that gives us zero cost up front, now we have something to work with. Okay, yeah, it's maybe, it might be a bullshit site, who knows? But at least we can try to look into it. Once we open up that door, though, we have to make a conscious decision as to where we're going to go with it. Okay, yeah, you can walk in the doorway and be standing in the the, the entryway, never actually enter the building. You know what I mean? Go through that little, like, circular door, if they even have those anymore. Um, if you have to turn around and say, nah, that ain't for me, okay, he'll turn and go. Say thanks for the moment, thanks for the memories, and thanks for the lessons and whatever you got to do, right? Um, so moving forward, keeping more variety and expansion includes this now Google site, which is super cool to me. I'll have to learn more about it. So as part of the learning about platform, we're adding Whatnot and Google Sites. As far as eBay or any other kind of seller sites, make sure that you're keeping up with your sales, adding items, and budgeting. Um, when you're adding into your ads or into your posting for the day, remember that a portion of your posting is going to be your ads, your thank yous, your cross posting, your main posting, um, and every once in a while, give some tidbits of information about your life or whatever. All this stuff is going to be recorded, and you're at all times being monitored anyway, so you might as well just be yourself, right? Um, okay, so keeping costs down as much as possible. Google site starts at 0 and goes up to 20. Let's just say $22. So as far as envelope system, that's what we're looking at as far as sinking funds, because as of right now I don't have it. I'm going to go ahead and plan for it, right? Because remember, we're looking at the next 6 months, or 5 months now, 5 months going into the new year of this actually being a business. So as much as I can keep my overhead down, if I'm coming out of pocket, right? Not all of us can get a business loan. I just fucked myself and lost 200 points of my credit overnight because of a fucking loan from like 10 years ago that I forgot about. My fault. So we end up experiencing these losses, which usually end up being great. And the more risk that you take, the more losses possible, not just up front, but also in the long run. So um, be aware of what your losses are potentially. I always tend to look at the worst case scenario first, as far left as I possibly can. Because I want to know what the spans of my possibilities are. And a lot of times, even if I go hard left or hard right, doesn't even matter. Usually I'm proven wrong in some aspect. So be aware that, in all things is an equal opposite. So keeping up with schedules and the calendar, as well as the PDF. Hopefully this will be able to give me access to direct linkage to products, so this way I don't have to utilize third-party programs as much as possible, because this is business, and business is cutthroat. And guess what? My feet have hit the floor, and the devil is awake now, so to speak. I know there's a lot of competition out there, and there's a lot of people that will make sure that you do not get to the next level, because they don't want you there. They don't want your light. They don't want you to the people to see that you are changing the ways of the world, because the ways of the world right now work best for them. So be aware of your surroundings, as well as the changes in the world. That's why I talk about current history. Not a lot, but enough, because y'all know me. I get into that heavy conspiracy theory and rabbit hole, and it's hard to come back out of. So keep reality as much in play as possible, even when you're in your Delulu land. So Delulu land is okay when you're thinking, forward thinking and with intentions and stuff. But as far as reality comes into play, Delulu land not so much. So until you create it yourself. So Also, when you're going into your sinking funds today, when you do your light touch for your numbers across the board for office work, say is cash on hand, any kinds of apps, like Cash App, Venmo, Square, PayPal, your bank accounts, gift cards, any kind of savings, percents of interest, how to grow credit from a major drop like the one that I just experienced personally, any kind of loans. We'll be looking into, as well as ways to utilize money across platforms and cycles of business. So these are all aspects that you're going to be light touching into pretty much on an in some kind of aspect every day, but at the very bare minimum, you're going to be doing Sunday and Tuesdays. The reason why I say Sunday is so this way you can go ahead and pull whatever information that you have as a light touch. So this way, when Tuesday comes and you actually do your numbers, or whenever it is that you do your budgeting, to each their own, that you can get a general idea of what's coming and what's going, as well as where you're at. So that way, when it finally does come time to do the budgeting, you've had practice in it. You have a little bit of an understanding of it. You have that little light touch knowledge. Hey, this is where I was 2 days ago. How am I today? Compared to how am I going to be for the rest of the week, right? Usually we do this sometime between Friday and Monday. And by Tuesday, we're broke. If not by Monday, we're broke. Okay? This has been a social norm for all of us. I'm just changing the days. So don't think I'm losing my mind just because I'm looking at my bank accounts on Sundays and Tuesdays rather than Fridays and Mondays. Because Sunday is my Monday. And by Tuesday, it's already Wednesday. And I'm looking at how the weekend's going to be. So, gives you something to work with. As far as paid sites, make sure that you're doing that light touch also of what is inbound as well as what you need to pull this week only. Okay, we're only budgeting for paid sites for this week. You may have money coming in next month, which is in a couple of days on Tuesday, right? But we are only looking at what is going to happen during the course of this week. Then on Tuesday, we will look at this month because Tuesday's June 1st or July 1st. So, also keep in mind holidays. The holidays are coming. So this is going to affect your money. We all know this. Banks take a couple periods of time of, transferring any kind of information, as well as being able to make sure that there's a gap in period of time from the facility that or company that you're working with to receive the money. Their account has to have time, as well as your account has to have time. Okay, so usually there's a period of like 2 to 10 days. Sometimes you can get a little bit quicker, especially if you're utilizing apps. But for the most part, you're going to be looking at a gap of time, especially around a holiday. If that holiday falls on a weekend, you're now looking at more time. Unless, even if you have direct deposits, sometimes that can still affect things. So you got to look at bank transfer times and how is that going to affect your income during that gap, which we always end up forgetting, like, oh, okay, well, I got a holiday this week. Yeah, I got a couple of days off. No. You now have to make up the loss for those couple of days. So, because that a couple of days loss is not going to just affect you right up front. It's going to affect every other aspect of everything. So when you're going paycheck to paycheck or dollar to dollar at this point, or I should say $100 to $100, because now a dollar is like 20, and oh my God, everything's expensive. So, makes you wonder, like, what the fuck were we complaining about? Like pre-COVID? What were we complaining about? We want pre-COVID again, right? So let's go back. Wait, we made a mistake. Let's go back. So yeah. You okay?
Yeah.
He got a new pair of headsets, so he's messing around. So make sure that you're keeping up with bank transfer times. That you are looking at the cycles of your business, like I said, whether it's, actual business or if it's your own personal business or your own personal goals. Doesn't matter what level of this mountain of nonsense that you're on. We're all on the same mountain, okay? We're just at different levels with different devils, right? And we're all experiencing demons along this path, so hopefully you can navigate through them. And for those of you who are leaders, continue to lead those through the darkness as much as possible, even if it doesn't work. Try your best. For those of you who are, the villain in this story, I understand that you may feel that there's a reason to be the way you are. Totally understandable and forgivable. So, just remember that. We always ask the question of like, okay, like say for example in like religion, like God and the devil or something like that, where there's like this split in between of like some people asking, and I know for myself, I personally ask this, like, why don't we just forgive the devil, make things even, everything's heaven, utopia. The devil won't forgive himself, and that's why there's a definitive line between heaven and hell in our own personal concepts, right? So when you start to forgive yourself for all the bullshit of the past, for all the things that are going on right now, and for the things that haven't even happened yet, okay? When you sit in that knowledge of understanding and saying to yourself that, okay, this is it. This is where I am. And where do I go from here? I want you to make that revelation today. And if you have to pray for it, if you have to give good vibes for it, if you have to think on it for a while, the rest of the day, and sleep on it tonight. I don't care. Whatever country you're from, whatever belief system you have, wherever wherever you're coming from, whatever your vibe is, I don't care. I want you to make a revelation today, and make today your pivot point of how you're going to start going forward in the future. You have a lot more power than you realize, and I hope you use it. So for those of you who are following the gym theory of what I'm doing as far as the challenges and stuff, what areas are you wanting to focus on? What machinery, if you are using any machinery, are you using versus what do you need to use now? Changes in diet, workout behaviors, any kind of personal preferences is going to be individualistic. So this is just a light touch of what are you looking to do going forward, okay? As far as thrifting, sinking funds is always in the back of our mind as far as what we're going to be pushing forward into the seller sites as well as into the social media. And also for personal household for sale items as well as total money spent goes back into the idea into budgeting. So and I personally need to go through and do a full-on inventory and meal plan, but because we have to do the order and I'm really behind. So but yeah, so meal planning is part of your gym. Going back into your Tuesday numbers for budgeting, make sure that you have enough money in there for your groceries, because remember the difference in inflation and the current changes and fluctuations in cost of things. Give yourself some leeway when you're doing your budgeting, because and I know this is like about impossible for most of us right now, is trying to use more of your local resources if you are able to. If you are the type of person that does not need to worry about your budget, if you're one of the lucky few that are able to budget above and beyond, give 10%, 1%, anything to resources, local resources. Because at some point in time, Yes, you may be on top right now, but at some point in time, you may be at the very bottom, and you're going to need those resources, and you're going to wish that they were there. So, yes, fund your resources. So, cleanup for us today. I mean, we went through a lot, and especially this morning, I went through and like completely like went cleaned the kitchen almost. I just have to go through the cabinets now. So personal cleanup, whatever you guys have to do today for your own personal cleanup is your own deal. I did not list anything specifically other than clean the office and trash out, but that's only because our Sundays is a trash day. So just a gentle reminder, change that load. And don't forget to order that thing. So nightly routines tonight. Um, I am looking into a DIY scrub personally. Y'all can go check those out, whatever your preferences are. And then I also started a curly hair routine, which is going to take like 4 months to work through. Pray for me. I was born with unruly Irish hair. And I have been nonstop straightening it for an entire lifetime because I can't stand curly hair. But now I'm learning to embrace it, and it's a process. So, baby,
What?
okay. I thought you went outside or something. I'm about to say it's gonna storm soon. Um, we actually did have a power blip yesterday. My insurance agency called me and told me to get an extra medication for my daughter because of possible power outages in my area, but the person wasn't even from my state. So that was like a heads up, right? Like, what? An insurance company called out to you. That's serious. Um, so power downs, make sure that all your stuff's put on charge tonight. Make sure you have backup chargers in case if you do have power outages, and make sure that you're unplugging things in case of storms. So, so that's it. Yeah, 6 a.m. monthly goals tomorrow morning starts off, or no, not tomorrow morning. Tuesday morning starts off a new month. We're gonna do our follow-up weigh-in from last month. That I can go ahead and tell you that I haven't lost any weight. I got down to 214 one day, but that was water weight. So, yep, we're 1 month down into the 30-pound challenge and 0. So now that puts it at 15 pounds per month, pushes it a little bit harder. I do not anticipate meeting 30 pounds. It was just a goal of mine, and I'm evidently not trying hard enough. So, women over 40, your weight loss goals will change. So, and your abilities to do things will change. So, if you are in your 20s, 30s, late 30s is when everything starts to change. Okay. This is not a bad thing. It is actually something that happens normally, and it is amongst different age ranges in different areas, and it also depends on previous traumas, any kind of physical traumas, as well as where you are health wise. So there's a lot of aspects that kind of play into, um, future health. So when you're young, and you think you know it all, just pay a little bit more attention to those that are older than you and have been there or that are going through it, like myself. So, some of you will hear me, a lot of you won't. And whatever information that I'm putting out into the algorithm is where it needs to be. So, like I said, tomorrow morning I did write to start it, but it's not. It's Tuesday. So, let's see. Well, then whatever I put for the Monday for 6 months would have been every 6 months. Or no, every month it only started with a Monday. That doesn't make any sense. Hold up. Yeah, see, I messed up. I need to put that as specifically 30 days instead of every month because not every month starts on a Sunday. So it would move. So then that personal goal would move every Monday, only to the Mondays that it start. So it wouldn't even be until the next. Still works. Okay. See, this is cycle that I have to go through in my mind. Okay. So, like I said, starting Tuesday, we're gonna actually like walk through everything. And I'm gonna go ahead and look more into that thing. I can turn these off. All right. So what am I gonna title this? It's not so long. I'm just gonna put my street name. Eat Rife. Okay. So we're coming up on 2 hours. So I'm gonna walk through this real quick and see what I can do with this. So it says to insert on the right side for Google site. We're in Google Sites. So looking in Google Sites, I opened up a salon, and I'm actually going to alter it to what I originally had put for my Wix site that I didn't publish. So home services, about, testimonials, and contact. Okay. See, for me in my stream, it's so multi-dimensional that it's like it's hard to pinpoint one specific avenue, right? So I would have to almost, in a sense, have multiple websites because each, even if I wanted to make it into like a niche of some sort, it would have to have its own individual areas for people to understand it because most people only think from that, like I said, that 1 to 3 second mark, right? So if it takes them time to go look through all of your stuff, unless they're super freaking interested and have power behind that, they're not going to get very far. So what I was thinking is with this website aspect of it is each section of these could possibly be their own website. And if they have products, then it would be a paid site. If it had content on it at all, naturally it can always be a paid site. But you want to have that first in the door feeling, right? You want to have that intro, that zero cost, that it's no cost to my client to come in and learn about what it is that I'm doing, right? And then have that knowledge base, well, that's the first step. And then you're going to get your win in your accessories of all the other things that you're doing. So now people are going to pick and choose for themselves. What more do they want to learn about you? What more do they want to hear from you? What more do they want to experience from you? It doesn't matter what aspect that you're thinking about. This is how it works. So that's why I'm saying each section that we've now broken down, where's my book? We've now broken down into different areas now can be built out in a way that can be monetized back to myself. And this is how I'm trying to get you guys to think. I'm trying to get it to this way you get paid to exist, okay? By the time that you, now mind you, all these baby steps, yes, they're mundane, but if you can get them right and time it in a good way that's beneficial for you to hook that freaking tail of that comet going in through the sky, right? You're going to be boosted into another freaking dimension, so to speak, right? So, say for example, like, let me just pick three, okay? I'm going to pick wardrobe, social, seller sites. No, social, seller sites, and house chores. Okay? I already have a social site, which is my link tree. So I don't even have to worry about that. So seller sites, house chores, and unschooling. Yeah, because then that would cover thrift and cleanup and nightly routines, self care, power downs. Yeah, that would cover all of them. Wardrobe, morning routines, house chores. Okay, so the three that I'm picking are seller sites, house chores, and unschooling. Because in my socials, like I said, I already have a link tree, so I already have that social site built out. Now I can add a page on my website to explain my socials, or like I said, as far as cross posting or more information about me section, um, a page, title page. You can have that information in the background, but whatever the website it is, and this is free, y'all. This is free. Do this. There's nothing stopping you now. Put that main idea, that main niche on that page. Then give like an extra little side note of, hey, look over here. You're always going to see advertising everywhere that you go now. Every single place that you go now. Every single aspect of your life can be monetized. Every single thing about your life can be monetized. It's just, how do you do it? How much effort and energy are you willing to put into it? And how much upfront are you willing to pay to get that first step in, right? And my point is that we're starting from zero or negative. Like, I don't want to have to pay for anything. I don't want to have to pay for anything. If there's a money transfer, I don't even want to know about it. Okay? Like, I just want shit to be free. Like, I just want the world to be the way that it was when it first started out, and the way that it should be now that AI is involved, right? Like, now that AI and robots are involved, if you really want to think about this from like a dark aspect, there is no reason why I should want for anything anymore. If you have dark factories creating from like nothing an immense amount nonstop 24/7 every single day, there is no reason why I should ever want for money shouldn't even be in the conversation anymore. I should just be able to like think it and it just arrive at the door. That's where we're going with the Halo and everything. The automatic 5D, whatever it's called, 7D. It's thought processes. So you're going to be thinking, and then it's going to be brought into your existence, right? And that's where I feel like we're at right now. If you really think hard enough on something, it will be manifested into your existence, into your reality in no time at all. And ads, business, personal profit, as far as like any aspect of multi income, whatever you want to call it, multi-dimensional, whatever aspect. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's raining. Cassie? So I'm getting ready. Okay, anyway. But yeah, those are the three sites that I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm not going to publish them yet, but we're going to go ahead and start these so we can get them ready to go to be live. When do we want to be live? By the end of the year. Because we're going to make this an actual business. And for each one of these pages can now become its own individual business. Somebody somewhere fill me up and sponsor me, please, because this is about to be big. Maybe bigger than I anticipated. I don't know. But if you have For those of you who have not been given an opportunity, this is your opportunity right here. Tell as many people as you can. Do it. Do it. So anyway, I know I've been live for like 2 hours on YouTube, and that's not a normal thing. So, uh, usually you guys are only on for like, I don't know, 30 minutes at the most, like 15, 30 minutes at the most. So I'm on here for hours on end, and that's only because it's been like predetermined in the back of my mind that that's how it's supposed to be, because that's how Twitch was when it first started out. The longer you were live, the more ads you got, the more you got paid. The more you had the opportunity to have people come into your stream and to bring you those bits or those diamonds or those whatever you want, stars. I have no idea. Whatever you guys trade as far as money wise, it ends up being money. Money. So keep going. And even if you've got to stutter, even if you've got to make a mistake, even if you've got to trip and fall and lose everything, in the long run, it's worth it. In the long run, when the end comes, and you're stripped of everything but your soul, and then you're finally stripped of your soul, it'll be worth it. So keep going, keep being happy, keep being you, being authentic in your own vibration and vibe. Enjoy every day that you have alive, even if you have some kind of a disability. Even if you feel that the world doesn't hear you, know that you're heard beyond the ethers, that you're being watched at all times. And don't forget to behave. So, until I see you all again,